I want you to listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to share with you has the power to challenge everything you have ever believed about your struggles, your failures, and even your state of mind. In life, there are really only two categories of people. The first are those who go through life defeated, tired, complaining, merely surviving from one day to the next. And the second are those who, even in the midst of storms, rise with courage, smile when others crumble, stand tall in the face of adversity, and ultimately win. The difference between these two groups is not luck, it is not intelligence, and it is not education. The real difference lies in what I call a positive mental attitude. Now, let me make this absolutely clear. A positive mental attitude is not just about forcing yourself to think happy thoughts. It is not shallow optimism or pretending to smile while your soul is breaking inside. No, my friend. A positive mental attitude is a spiritual power. It is the ability to see through the fog of difficulty and still act with faith, confidence, and precision. It is the antidote to failure. It is the foundation of all lasting success. History proves this truth. For over 25 years, I studied the lives of men who shaped entire generations. Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller. These were not men who lived easy lives. They faced failures, disappointments, betrayals, and setbacks. But they developed an indestructible mindset. They did not run from failure, they learned from it. They did not surrender when obstacles appeared. They studied those obstacles and turned them into opportunities. They did not collapse under pressure. They transmuted defeat into fuel for success. And if they could do it, so can you. But first, let me ask you a question. What is controlling your mind today? Is it fear, doubt, resentment, self-pity? Or is it faith, vision, gratitude, and purpose? Because one thing I have discovered is that the human mind never remains neutral. It is always under the influence of something. If you do not direct it, the world will. If you do not master it, the enemy will. That is a truth I learned when I confronted my greatest enemy, myself. Listen to me. Your mental attitude is the only thing over which you have complete, unchallenged control. Nobody can force you to think a certain way. Nobody can take that power unless you surrender it. This truth will either liberate you or expose your excuses. Because here is the reality: what you believe, you eventually become. What you continually think about, you attract. What you dwell on will ultimately manifest in your life. Now, some of you may say, but Dr. Munroe, I've tried to stay positive, yet life keeps hitting me. Then let me ask you, what is your definiteness of purpose? Because no one can sustain a strong mental attitude without a burning goal. Something so clear, so consuming, and so magnificent that even failure trembles in its presence. Show me a man without purpose, and I'll show you a man who drifts through life. And a drifter is always in the hands of the enemy. But show me a man with vision, who wakes up with fire in his belly and a dream in his heart, and I'll show you a man who cannot be broken. To develop an unbreakable, positive mental attitude, you must first decide exactly what you want. Then believe without wavering that you will achieve it. Act daily in harmony with that belief. Do not wait for motivation. Do not depend on circumstances. Do not expect life to hand you encouragement. The world does not owe you comfort, but it will reward decisiveness backed by faith. When a person makes up his mind that he will not quit, that he will not surrender to negative thoughts, and that his mind belongs to him and not his enemies, something extraordinary happens. He begins to attract what he needs. People appear. Opportunities emerge. Strength he never knew he had begins to rise within him. And even failure itself, begins to fear him. But here is the secret you must never forget: negative thoughts are not casual visitors. They are enemies. And the only way to defeat them is with an unshakable, positive mental attitude anchored in faith, vision, and purpose. This is the pathway to freedom, to success, and to destiny. This is Myles Munroe, And I'm Dr. Myles Munroe reminding you that your mind is your greatest battlefield, but also your greatest weapon. Negative thoughts are not visitors, my friend. They are invaders. And if you tolerate them, they will take over your home, your mind. If you entertain them, they will eat your purpose from the inside. If you let them linger, they will convince you to abandon the very assignment God placed you on this earth to fulfill. That is why you must practice what I call cosmic housekeeping. Take inventory of your thoughts. Monitor the conversations happening in your own head. And when you catch your mind drifting toward fear, doubt, resentment, or worry, stop it immediately, like you would stop a criminal trying to break into your house. Do not negotiate with it. Do not tolerate it. Replace it instantly with gratitude, with faith, with declarations of strength and power that align with who you really are. You must rise every morning and declare, I was not born to be broken. I was not created to be weak. I am made of the same substance that built mountains, that formed galaxies, that breathes through the lungs of champions. This is the language of a positive mental attitude. But let me now address one of the greatest lies that has kept millions of people weak. I'm just not a positive person. That, my friend, is pure nonsense. No one is born positive or negative. You were conditioned. Your environment shaped you. Your upbringing trained you. Your past experiences wrote stories in your head. But nothing in your mind is permanent unless you accept it as permanent. What has been learned can be unlearned. What has been programmed can be rewritten. And the key is repetition. You become what you repeatedly do. You believe what you repeatedly say. Your attitude will always reflect the dominant thoughts you feed it over time. So, if you want to develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, you must begin here. Control your input. Feed your mind daily with faith, courage, and truth. Speak power even when you feel pain. Read the words of greatness until they ignite inside you. Listen to the voices of faith until your own voice begins to echo with the same conviction. There is no shortcut, there is no quick hack, but there is a path. And that path begins with one decision, that no matter what life throws at you, your attitude belongs to you. Not to your critics, not to your enemies, not to your past. It belongs to you. And that, my friend, is the beginning of power. If you want to master this, then you must understand the law of autosuggestion. What is autosuggestion? It is the method by which your subconscious mind becomes the soil for either weeds or fruit. Whatever you repeatedly say to yourself, whether it is truth or lies, your mind will absorb it, believe it, and ultimately manifest it. Your success is always preceded by a conversation, not with other people, but with yourself. Your inner dialogue is either the architect of greatness or the assassin of your dreams. The man who rises every morning declaring, I will win, I will persist, I will not be denied, begins to create the reality his faith has already claimed. But the man who wakes up sighing, nothing ever works for me, I'm tired, I can't do this, has already died before he leaves his bed. Remember this eternal principle. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief is not built in a moment. It is forged daily through repetition, through discipline, through practice. You must condition the mind like a muscle, intentionally, ruthlessly, with fire. Take 5 minutes every morning and speak life into your purpose. Not passively, not timidly, but with boldness, with conviction, with power. Say, I am powerful beyond measure. My purpose burns stronger than my fear. I attract exactly what I need because I expect nothing less. At first, you may not feel it. That is normal. The subconscious mind is not changed by fleeting feelings. It is changed by consistent repetition charged with emotion. Say it again and again and again until the voice of victory inside you becomes louder than the voice of doubt around you. But let's go deeper. You cannot sustain a positive mental attitude without self-discipline. You cannot master your emotions if you cannot master your habits. You cannot hold a positive vibration if you are bound by negative rituals. Discipline is the bridge between thought and reality. Without discipline, desire remains fantasy. Without discipline, faith remains theory. But when discipline joins hands with faith, it builds destiny. Myles Munroe reminding you that the mind you master today is the future you create tomorrow. Without discipline, my friend, your good intentions remain nothing more than dreams, and your destiny is delayed. The great men I studied, Carnegie, Hill, Edison, Schwab, they did not rise to prominence on talent alone. Many men had talent. They rose because they governed themselves. They understood a timeless principle. The man who cannot control his thinking, his time, and his appetites will forever be a slave in a world designed for kings. So let me ask you today, what do you tolerate that is quietly weakening your spirit? What distractions do you entertain that delay your progress? What comforts do you cling to that are robbing your future? Because hear me, an unbreakable mental attitude is not born in ease. It is born in discipline, under pressure. It is forged when you say, I will read instead of scroll. I will rise instead of sleep. I will speak power instead of complaint. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, your inner strength multiplies. Every time you surrender to ease, a piece of your potential dies. Now let me share with you one of the most vital truths I discovered after years of studying both success and failure. Every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. If you believe this, you can never truly lose. You may stumble, you may bleed, you may even suffer, but you will never be broken, because you will know deep within that this is not the end. It is the test before elevation. Look back at your own journey. The greatest lessons you have ever learned did not come during seasons of comfort. They came in moments of collapse. The greatest clarity did not come when things were easy. It came when storms struck and you were forced to decide, will I drown or will I rise? That is why I urge you to train your mind to expect both the good and the bad. Say to yourself, this pain is preparing me. This failure is redirecting me. This delay is protecting me. When you do this, you become unshakable. You become dangerous to defeat, because life cannot destroy a man who grows stronger every single time he is hit. And here is another secret I must reveal. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are only ever a victim of your response. Two men can face the same storm. One grows bitter, the other grows better. The difference is not the event. When life slaps you across the face, you decide whether to curse it or to bless it as the teacher it is. When someone betrays you, you decide whether to sink into resentment or rise into wisdom and stronger boundaries. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control what it becomes in you. That is the essence of a positive mental attitude. It does not remove difficulty. It redefines it. It does not stop storms from coming. It teaches you how to walk through storms with purpose. But let me warn you, not everyone will celebrate this mindset. In fact, some will hate it. They will mock your optimism. They will call you delusional, unrealistic, naba. Ignore them. The truth is, most people are addicted to mediocrity. They have made hopelessness a habit. They are threatened by anyone who dares to rise, while they themselves have made peace with crawling. That is why you must cut off mental infection at the source. Surround yourself only with those who speak life. Avoid those who feed your fear. Tell me who your enemies are, and I will tell you who you are becoming. But also, tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you the limits of your future. Because environment is stronger than will. If you spend your time in darkness, do not expect your mind to shine. What you allow into your ears enters into your spirit. What you allow into your spirit shapes the atmosphere of your destiny. So hear me now. If you want to develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, you must choose your influences with divine precision. You must discipline your thoughts, govern your emotions, and guard your associations. And finally, let me leave you with this liberating truth. You do not need permission to develop this power. It is already yours. Your mind, your faith, your purpose, they belong to you. And when you master them, no man, no devil, and no storm can stop the future God designed for you. You do not need a degree. You do not need a title. You do not need the world's approval. What you need is one thing, a decision to take ownership of your thoughts, a decision to lead your mind instead of being led by it, a decision to become the kind of person that nothing and no one can break, because your attitude refuses to surrender. If you make that decision today, if you say, from this moment forward, I no longer rent my attitude to circumstance. I own it, I lead it, I protect it. Then you are already halfway to greatness. Because life bends to the will of those who stand tall in spirit, even when their bodies are weary. So stand tall, my friend. And now let us finish this. The fact that you've listened this far tells me something powerful about you. It tells me you are no longer content with merely surviving. You want to master life. And mastery always begins in the mind. The final layer of building an unbreakable, positive mental attitude is this: you must have a chief definite aim. Without a purpose, the mind drifts. Without a burning goal, the mind wanders like a leaf in the wind, tossed by fear, distracted by doubt, and weakened by temptation. You must anchor your mind to something greater than comfort. You must wake up every morning with a reason so vivid, so personal, and so consuming that nothing, no fear, no failure, no fatigue, can shake it out of you. Your definite chief aim is not simply a goal. It is your identity in action. It is who you are becoming, directed by vision and sustained by obsession. Every man I studied who rose to greatness had this burning purpose. They did not kind of want it. They did not casually hope for it. They lived it. Their purpose was not something they did. It was something they became. So I ask you, what do you want so badly that you are willing to suffer for it? What do you crave so deeply that you are willing to be misunderstood, ridiculed, doubted, even left alone, yet still pursue it? What kind of life would make every breath worth the pain it costs? Answer these questions with honesty, and you will find the seed of your destiny. Once you discover that, burn it into your subconscious. Write it down. Read it morning and night. Speak it with fire. Feel it as though it is already done. Engrave it into your mind until it becomes unshakable. Because vague desires always produce vague results. But clarity commands the universe. And once your purpose is fixed in your mind like the North Star, your positive mental attitude becomes not just your shield, but your sword. Listen carefully. The man who has a clear purpose and protects his attitude becomes unstoppable. He may be delayed, but he will never be denied. He may fall, but he will always rise. He may struggle, but he will never retreat. Why? Because he understands that attitude is the hinge upon which the doors of destiny swing. Your attitude determines whether failure becomes fuel or a finish line, whether a loss becomes a lesson or a lifelong excuse, whether hardship becomes your downfall or your rise. That is why you must guard your mental attitude like a warrior guards his sword. Defend it from all negative influences. That includes toxic people, poisonous media, your inner critic, and mental laziness. That includes gossip, self-pity, victim thinking, and every thought that drains your energy. No matter what life throws at you, take responsibility, own it, shape it, rise from it. Never let another person, another failure, or another situation decide the meaning of your life. That power belongs to you, and you alone. Now allow me to speak directly to your heart. As a man who spent his life studying the greats and lifting the forgotten, let me assure you, you are not here by accident. Your life is not random. Your struggles are not meaningless. Your purpose is greater than the pain you've endured. And if you will decide today to lead your mind, to protect your attitude, and to live with purpose, then nothing and no one will ever be able to break you. The battle is in your mind, but so is the victory. You were created with a purpose. You carry something the world desperately needs. Your very existence is proof that your destiny is real. But listen carefully. Your destiny will not manifest if your mind remains crowded with fear, poisoned by self-doubt, and chained by excuses. Your responsibility is to cleanse your inner world. Feed your mind the words of greatness. Study the biographies of giants. Declare affirmations that awaken your spirit. Take bold action, even when you tremble. And above all, think thoughts that lift you, expand you, empower you, and direct you forward. Every time you do, you grow. Every time you allow fear to dominate your thinking, you shrink. Growth or decline. That is the choice before you every single day. Now let me give you a rule that has never failed me. Act as if it were impossible to fail. I do not say this lightly. I say it because fear has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. The fear of failure keeps men small. The anticipation of defeat is often more powerful than defeat itself. But what happens when you remove failure from the equation? What happens when you say, I cannot fail. I can only learn. I cannot lose. I can only adjust. I cannot break. I can only bend and return stronger. That, my friend, is the seed of an unbreakable mind. Because when you think this way, hesitation dies. You move, you speak, you create, you command. And in that commanding, fear runs, doubt flees, and the world begins to respond. Why? Because confidence is magnetic. Certainty is rare. And those who possess both rise as leaders by spirit. Not by title, not by position, but by the authority of their inner conviction. But hear me well, no man succeeds alone. Yet no man has ever succeeded by waiting for others to believe in him first. You must believe when others laugh. You must stand when others sit. You must speak when others mock. You must lead, even while you are still becoming the very thing you speak of, because the world follows those who dare to be mentally invincible. So let me summarize what you now possess, if you dare to live it. A mind that sees opportunity in every obstacle. A voice that speaks power into your soul daily. A purpose so clear and consuming that fear suffocates in its presence. A discipline so steady that weakness becomes irrelevant. And a mindset so positive, so unshakable, that even the gates of hell cannot hinder your progress. This is not fantasy. This is law. These principles work for Carnegie. They worked for Edison. They worked for Ford. And they will work for you if you work them. So the question is not, will these principles work? The real question is, will you? Will you rise each day and claim your attitude as your greatest possession? Will you speak strength into your life, even when your circumstances are screaming weakness? Will you persist when every voice inside you whispers to quit? Because if you do, you will not only build success, you will build a life worth living, a life of depth, a life of greatness, a life that echoes across generations long after your name has been spoken. That is the power of an unbreakable, positive mental attitude. And it is yours today, if you decide. So now, as your guide, as your mentor, and as a man who has given his life to the study of purpose and success, I leave you with one question: will you decide? Because in that moment of decision, your destiny begins. And from this day forward, let your every thought, your every word, and your every action declare to the world, I am unshakable. I am unstoppable. I am unbreakable. And so it is. This is Wi-Fi Leafy. And I'm Dr. Myles Munroe reminding you, master your mind and you will master your future.